Hi, I'm Colin Hung with HitMic, where we explore the latest trends in healthcare marketing. Today, I'm joined by Robert Finn, Vice President of Marketing, Product Management, and Analytics with Labelmaster. Rob, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So before we dive in to the interesting project that you're in the midst of, can you share with our audience what Labelmaster does?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Labelmaster, we're in the dangerous goods logistics space, and we help customers in virtually every industry who have to move dangerous goods or hazmat from point A to B. We help them with products. We help them with technology. We help them with services consulting, and it's a crazy industry, I will say. And I know your audience is very much healthcare related, and we service the healthcare industry a lot with packaging for infectious disease, dry ice, temperature controlled, just packaging and solutions to make sure that all of the things that the healthcare facilities and industry does, it arrives safely and compliantly.
Amazing. Thanks for that background.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
Labelmaster has been around for a long time. It's a very storied name, and the reason why you're here on the program, the reason why I was so interested in speaking with you, is because you're in the beginning of a rebrand journey. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's a Chicago-based company. We've been around for 50 years. We have very, very strong brand equity, very high awareness within the industry. And if we want to grow, you know, we got to look at everything. And so that's what project we're in. We're participating in right now.
So before we dive into maybe some of the steps that you're doing, let me ask you this question. What does brand mean to you when I say that word?
Well, to me, the brand is everything. You know, it's the heart, the lungs, and the brain of an organization. I guess fundamentally, a brand is the promise our organization makes to our customers, to our team members, to our industry, to our board of directors. It defines a lot of what we do. It defines our offer of what we provide in the marketplace. It defines how our company makes others feel, our customers feel, and our employees feel the experience. It defines our legacy, our history, and even the true north of kind of where our direction is. And I guess it also, to a degree, defines our personality. And I've been involved in many brand exercises and things like that. And I think people who view the brand solely as a naming or a creative marcom exercise are kind of missing the beat a little bit, in my opinion of what a brand is.
Wow, it almost makes you're making the brand sound like almost like part of the soul of a company.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what it is.
Amazing. So you're in the middle, or you're just starting this rebrand journey. What are the goals that you have for this initiative?
Well, it's interesting. You know, the main goal that I have for this initiative is, is to essentially reframe our organization for growth. It really is going to lead our business strategy, and whatever brand change we make is going to help us determine new product initiatives, define go-to-market operations, new operational growths. Our new brand is going to help us establish new priorities and a new strategic direction that's going to act for growth, and it's going to drive business strategy.
I was going to say, it sounds like there's a component here of a roadmap for the organization after you finish the brand, which I got to admit is not usually something we hear when people go through a rebrand. Usually it's more about repositioning, going into a new market. This one is much more around just charting the course that you're currently on.
Yeah, and again, that's not to say that, in my opinion, brands can't do that. I mean, there's certainly opportunities to rebrand a product brand, to rebrand and reposition some, an existing brand or a product. What we're working on is a corporate brand initiative here. We got lots of products, lots of tech, lots of things like that. This is really about a brand, about our organization. And that's why it is so critical that we have the right steps and places, and that we have the right process.
We don't get an opportunity very often here at HitMic to interview people or talk to people who are in the midst of a brand journey. I call it being in flight. So what I want to ask you is, what is the process that you've gone through so far in your rebrand?
Well, it's been a journey so far, and like you said, we're not even I would say that we're maybe about 50% there. But it really all starts with a deep discussion with our case, senior leadership and our board of directors. We have to kind of, we built a business case. We looked at our review of our business performance, how the industry has changed, how our customers have changed. And really just to understand, is a rebrand necessary? Does our current brand and our offering align to the goals that we have to grow this company in the next 5 or 10 years? And so, once we kind of put that business case and said, what, we think it might be time for a change, then our senior leadership team got together and we looked at our 5-year growth plans. And we looked and say, is our brand able to support this? And we all kind of talked about it. We talked about what our brand meant. We talked about amongst ourselves and documented how our customers feel about us, why our customers buy from us, why our customers buy from competitors. And we put that all, and we discussed it and debated it. And then we took those findings and we set them aside. And then we asked our customers the same types of questions.
Okay.
And so we started to look at it and kind of where the alignment is and where there are some disassociations. And we realized, yeah, we think it's probably time for a change. I mean, some of the reasons customers buy from us and the value that our customers see us is that we don't think that our brand really articulates that enough. And so once we kind of got that aha moment that we said, okay, we think that is correct, then we started to do some brand platform discussions. So we brought our agency in, and we started to really think about, document, the value that we provide, how customers feel about us, the legacy, our personality. And we started to vet some of that out and really start to articulate what this brand is, and started to redefine our pillars. And that's giving us some good direction right now.
You mentioned you engaged an agency at some point. Did they run you through any exercises or anything like that to help you through that part of the journey? I mean, it sounds like you did a lot on your own at the very beginning, a lot of discovery and a lot of, meeting with your customers and things. What was it like sort of after working with the agency? Did they come in with a process there?
Yeah, Studio North came in with a great process. They are great mediators. They bring in an objective view. And because they have such wide experience and knowledge about certainly our industry, but other industries, they can kind of help us. They ask the right questions at the right times that get our senior leadership team to kind of look at each other and say, wow, that's kind of interesting. We hadn't thought about that. We hadn't explored that. And it allows us to kind of get out of our senior executive group think and, kind of contemplate some other things that we may not have thought about otherwise.
Sometimes it's very hard to see the forest, right? Like without that drone view from the outside.
Yes, exactly. You get that one person who already knows what the brand should be, and it's a good place to be when you have some objective thinking in the room.
So what has stood out about this journey so far for you? Is there anything that was really revealing for you as you've gone through this so far?
Yeah. It's a good question. I think there may be two things that kind of stood out. The first one is just we mentioned earlier about groupthink.
Mhm.
I mentioned that, the senior leaders, we kind of, view what our brand is and the offer and why customers buy it from us. And, I think just generally, we're generally more positive about our offering in the marketplace. Well, of course, customers buy from us because of A, B, and C. And then when you actually ask the customers why they buy from us and what value we provide, it's still very positive, but it's not exactly what you would see or think. And so I think that it's really interesting to see the differences in terms of how your organization thinks versus how the customers think. And I
Mm.
think oftentimes, you don't give the customer their fair share in this discussion in this project. So that's the first thing. And then I guess the other thing that I mentioned is how the brand can really drive business strategy. We spent some time as we figured out what our brand pillars were, and we kind of vetted it out. So we said, well, if this business were to come along, if this opportunity were to come along, would we grow into that industry? In many cases, we found out that if the brand is articulated, if it's stated in a certain way, it would give us permission to go into new industries or new businesses. And other times it would say, you know what, while it might seem good to go into that opportunity, that's really not who we are. That's not part of our growth. That's not part of our overall brand strategy. And then in that case, that would prevent us from spending too many resources or times to go on to a direction that wouldn't make sense for us. So I think it can drive, if it's done right, it can drive very good decision making and setting up priorities.
I really like how you put that, Rob. Like, when done correctly, brand can help you make some business decisions.
Yeah.
The example you gave was decisions of whether or not to enter a market.
Yeah.
I've heard other stories from other brands where that can help guide what kinds of employees you look for, what kinds of internal processes that you have or don't have based on your brand. So that's a part of brand, you're right, that a lot of people sometimes don't think about, right? They just get enamored with the colors and the logo and the little tagline.
It's so much more than that. And even the way you articulate the brand, it has so much to do with, you're right, the vibe that your company takes and how people feel about getting up in the morning and having a purpose for what they do every day. I mean, if you can create a brand that can articulate that, and not only articulate it, but deliver against it. I mean, and that's something else that's kind of, it's just not about words on a paper and, you do a couple posters and, you have that's not what this is. That's not what we're doing. I mean, a lot of this stuff is going to go down all the way into, how we internally hire, how we externally hire, how we treat each other. It's all that stuff wrapped up into, the why of doing business.
What's the next step for your brand journey?
We have some big meetings with our board of directors in a couple of weeks. And we're going to kind of present the findings so far, and we're going to hopefully move forward and then ultimately start to get some customer feedback. I mean, this is a real big deal for us. Again, we have very high, strong brand equity now, very, very high awareness. And really, it's going to be a matter of getting permission from customers that, is our offer and how we want to change the offer. Are we going to get permission from our customers that we can do it? And it'll be an interesting next step for sure.
And I got to ask this: when do you expect to have this journey complete?
Well, I don't know if it's ever going to be complete, but
Sure.
I think if it's my guess, when we're going to be able to do some communication around it, both internally and start externally, I think it'll probably be sometime next year in 2023.
And Rob, given what you've gone through so far, is there one piece of advice that you would give to another person who maybe at the very beginning of their rebrand journey or contemplating a rebrand?
Well, it takes a lot of intestinal fortitude, depending, and there's a lot of stakes at play here. I mean, I think that in some cases, it could be easier just not to do anything. Right. I mean, depending on the circumstances, of course,
Sure.
If you have a relatively strong brand and it's performing and it's doing all this stuff, sometimes, there's a feeling that I just won't ruffle the feathers, that, what, yeah, we have issues, but it's easier to explain the issues within the existing brand. But, in those circumstances where, there is growth on the line and there's opportunity, and, you want to drive the business forward, you know, a significant rebrand is important. And, like I said at the top, it's not just about the Marcom and the logo and the colors. It has the opportunity to really drive real operational growth and operational change and business growth decisions. So it's exciting. It's fun. It's a little nerve-wracking at times, stressful for sure. But I think that if the research is done correctly and things are thought out and there are reasonable steps and communication, I think it can be very successful and rewarding.
Final question for you, Rob. Where can people go to find out more information about Labelmaster?
Oh, you can always go to labelmaster.com. We have a pretty robust site and plenty of great content, particularly in healthcare industries and other industries. We're very passionate about the safe and compliant transport of hazardous materials, and we do it very, very well. And looking forward to our next chapter.
Rob, thank you so much for being on our program today.
Yeah, my
for
pleasure.
Sharing this wonderful information. Hey, listen, if you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening or watching. Also, you can head over to hitmic.com, where we share a lot of information around marketing and healthcare. You can also connect with us on Twitter using the hashtag HITMC. I'm Colin Hung. Thanks for being here.